it's quite a strange concept to think your body into not holding tension in a certain place, to think your neck to be free.
I didn't even know anything about it. And then when I came in here, I did it the first lesson. It was so weird because I walked out and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
You can act without it. You can get on stage and do whatever without it. But I can only say that through experience, I've felt the moments where I'm tuned into myself. And I mean, your body's like an instrument. This is our craft. This is what we do.
People often don't really know what Alexander Technique really is.
People may just think it applies to music, but it applies to everyday life.
What you're really doing is you're understanding your reaction process.
It's hard sometimes to put into words, but you get different feelings of feeling the muscles let go, and you build up a picture of like actually how your body and the structure of it is.
I think there's an urgency for us to have it in education, because what we're beginning to see is a lot of young children having backache, being stressed.
In this particular school, we're dealing with 13 to 18-year-olds. It's such a crucial time as they're forming the patterns that they're going to take through in the rest of their lives. So for me, it's not important, it's crucial.
We really don't notice exactly the details of what's going on as we leave it to our subconscious to carry out these very, very common tasks.
One of the main difficulties in education at the moment is that the attention span for children is getting less and less and less. And this work of Alexander will teach them how to focus better, to have an easy attention. We so often get people to concentrate very hard for a few seconds, and then their mind goes off somewhere else and they're out the window and throwing a bag out.
I think it's really important at the start of formal education, this transition between being at home, starting nursery and then coming through to formal education. Most toddlers have beautiful use, they use themselves really well, they're balanced and coordinated. And then what we find is as they're sitting down more at the table and using a pen and have pressures put upon them, they often lose that coordination and poise.
Children are often taught a load of facts or information without being taught how to do things, and that is where the Alexander work helps us.
I would like to see every child given the opportunity to blossom as the individual that they are, and that the priority is the means rather than the end. And that from that you get a system where kindness becomes the most important factor in the school day.
The Alexander work is really, really important at the basis of it, because it does give them that confidence. It makes them think about what they're doing. So it helps them to think. So to confidently think about what they're going to do and make confident decisions.
I think Alexander Technique could be a very useful tool for all children in all forms of education to find a space where they become more aware of themselves, that they learn to take time and to reflect.
When I'm walking around and you just remember those words, notice, and your head, and you feel like you sort of own the place in a sense, and you can walk around with that freedom and you relax.
I think it would be wonderful if more young people had access to lessons. I think when you learn the technique when you're young, you get used to thinking in a different way and giving yourself space. And I think in today's society, when everything is so hurried and so rushed, I think there's more understanding that these days that to be mindful in the way that we do things is extremely important.
It helps me understand my surroundings more and helps me think about things that I do in an everyday life and how I normally do it and what I could change about it.
Because you think you know what you're doing. You think you know, I stand easily, I walk easily, but it's not until you have someone kind of there showing you that you can stand taller or be wider in all these kind of directions.
So the Alexander Technique provides an opportunity for them to breathe, to stop, reflect, and then to improve what they can achieve.
I think it is a great shame that Alexander Technique isn't more widely known about, because often it's related to sort of arts, musicians, actors, dancers. However, I truly believe if you're human, it's going to help you.
I thought it would be really useful in terms of just my performance. I thought that would be the most useful thing, but actually it's been helpful in my everyday life.
The Alexander technique is becoming more well known because there's coverage in the press. But most people are looking for a quick fix. So you go to the doctor and you get a pill, or you run around the park at the weekend. That's pretty easy compared with the commitment that's necessary for taking on the Alexander principles. Once you commit to Alexander, which is very easy once you understand what you're dealing with, then you have to think about it. Your life changes, and once you start making the progress, you'd be crazy to stop pursuing the pathway. It's something that changes every aspect of your life.
So I'd like to quote something from a book called Forward and Away by Elizabeth Walker, thinking of the needs and interests of each individual and how I can help them think and stop doing the things that are interfering with their balance and coordination. Teaching has been a most extraordinarily rewarding experience. Communication by touch is probably the most basic form of communication. And this is what's so rewarding, because one knows with absolute certainty that what one is communicating is good.